What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Who's Reality Cooking podcast. I'm so excited to have Lizzie from season 13 of MasterChef with me. What's up, Lizzie? How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. It's like our first day of spring in Alaska, so I'm feeling really great.
What does that look like there? Do you have a lot of sunlight or still not a lot? How does that work?
Our sunlight is just coming back because we're coming from like the full darkness, like day and night. But we're now up. It's not getting dark until like 9, 10 o'clock at night. The snow is still on the ground, but like it's 30, 40 degrees outside. Like we can be outside enjoying ourselves and not freezing the whole time.
Oh, that's so great. I hope that summer comes quickly for you too,
Thank
and
you.
that snow melts. We actually got snow just like last week, and
Oh,
it's just, what is happening?
no, not supposed to be.
I think Punxsutawney Phil was, he had it wrong this year, at
He
least for
did.
my area.
He did.
Um, well, I wanted to kind of find out about you, and the whole idea here with this podcast is to not just get a backstage pass to talk about what, of course, you're allowed to talk about from being on the show, but also just really get excited about knowing you and cheering you on through the show. And
Cool.
so, for my first question, I just wanted to ask, can you share with us where your love for cooking came from, and how long have you been cooking, and just tell us your story.
Yeah. So when I was 15, I moved to Alaska. 15's a really hard time to move in general, but I think moving to Alaska made it even more difficult. I struggled with a lot of seasonal depression, and just needing to make friends. I learned how to cook. And through learning how to cook, I was able to build a community around me. I would bring other girls my age into my home, and we would teach ourselves how to make scrambled eggs, and we would have little contests where we would all make a dish and put it up on Facebook and make people vote. When I was 16, I started a cooking club for girls, and that group grew from just me and my other friend to about 30, 40 girls our age, from all over North Pole, Fairbanks, Alaska. So I realized I actually had to learn if I was going to continue teaching. So that's when I enrolled in culinary school, and that's where the whole journey just kind of took off.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so great. Are you cooking professionally now, or are you still just doing the home cook thing? What's going on?
No, I am a full-blown travel chef. So I am visiting some of Alaska's most luxurious and incredible locations and getting to cook when I get there. I'm also flying. I just was in Florida 2 weeks ago cooking for an event. So I am traveling and cooking full time at this point. And this is actually like one of my first days off in quite a while. So I'm really enjoying today and I'm happy to share it with you.
Oh, wow. Well, I won't keep you for too long then, because you need to get your rest. So, what did the, day in the life of Lizzie look like before you went on MasterChef?
Yeah. So I was doing cooking for nonprofit groups, like volunteering my time. So I was doing that on the weekends, and then during the week, I was a substitute teacher, teacher's aide at a local school. So I was doing that, 8 to 5, and then doing a lot of community events. I'm still, still very involved with the different girls and cooking and things like that, but nothing at a professional level. So MasterChef really changed that for me.
Wow, talk about a huge change. That's amazing. That's so cool. And I definitely want to ask more about what MasterChef has done for you, but I kind of want to
Yeah.
run through the season. And first, kind of talk about that first day. You go to the tryouts. Wow, there are a lot of people in there. What was it like meeting Gordon for the first time? And did you meet him right then and there while you were cooking? Or, did he kind
Yeah.
of walk around and schmooze a little bit? Really? The first time
That
was when you were
that was
cooking?
my first moment. I guess he had come into the room before, when they do the big like welcome and they're filming that, but I was not close to him. I was in the back of the crowd. So that moment when he comes out and comes to my table, like that was the first moment. And he's so his presence like takes up a lot of space. But he was so warm and kind, and you could tell how excited I was. So it was just a really special moment. Like I will never forget that. It was really cool.
Oh, it was so great to watch on camera too. So anybody who hasn't watched that season, you got to get on it because it's amazing. And I was able to watch it on Hulu. Is there
Yeah.
anywhere else that people can watch it?
I think Hulu is where it's at right now.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, check it out. And then when you cooked that dish, which makes me hungry just thinking about, by the way, what was the herbed oil? Well, first of all, what was the whole dish? But specifically, I want to know what was in that amazing, beautiful herbed oil that you made.
Yeah. So it was a oven roasted halibut, and what was really special was they got that halibut, Alaska halibut, for me that very morning. So I remember someone coming running up to me before my audition, like, Lizzie, we got it, because that had been a little bit of an issue. Like I felt like if I was going to cook an Alaskan halibut dish, it needed to be from Alaska. That was very important, and the team there made sure that that happened, and that was really special. So it was a roasted halibut with the fresh herb oil on a cauliflower puree and pan-seared shiitake mushrooms. So a very simple dish, but very elegant. And it really allowed the halibut to shine. But the herb oil, I believe it was, I had taken chives and quickly cooked them. And I put them in my blender with some good olive oil, and we um, blended that up, and then I strained it and added fresh lemon juice and salt and pepper, and that was it. And it has that beautiful vibrant green color.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely stunning. And you got four chefs said yes. You got four
I did that.
yeses. Oh
I
my
did. Oh, that was I not that I felt like I couldn't do it, but you just don't expect that. Like you're like, okay, if I walk out of there with two yeses and I don't get to be on the show, at least I got two yeses. But three, that's amazing. But then four, that was I cried. As you saw.
It was such a great moment, and you have such an amazing presence on TV. So I was so excited to see you make it onto the actual season.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you when you got to celebrate that and just share a little bit more about maybe if you feel comfortable what you did that night to celebrate? You did have your family there with you, so tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that.
I enjoyed a Chick-fil-A sandwich in the hotel lobby. No, I think I was just exhausted by the end of that night. I went back and had my sandwich. My family was there. We enjoyed that together, and then I went to bed. But just it was more so that peace and like that feeling in my heart, like, wow, you should be really proud of yourself. You just did that. And for me, it was like no matter what else happened that season, like even if I were to go out in the next episode, I felt so good about that day.
That's so great. And anyone trying out for these shows, I think a lot of us, we worry about, I just don't want to be the first one to go home. But when you think about it, you were still in that top,
Exactly.
depending on what show you're on, that top
Yes.
16 or that top
Yeah.
20, and
Yep.
just celebrate that.
Oh yeah. And I kept thinking, even if all I got to do was the audition process, it still changed my life. And it really put a lot of things into perspective for me. And so even if that is all that had happened, I would have been so grateful.
That's so interesting. What do you feel comfortable saying what was put into perspective, just going in a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah. It really makes you take your life and pull all the pieces together. And I felt like coming out of that process, I understood the timeline of my life, like my story. I don't never felt like I had a story. And once I put all those pieces together, I was like, wow, I've done some amazing things. I have an incredible story to share. And MasterChef showed me that. And it really helped me pull out like, the things I was good at and my gifts. And it really just gave me a new perspective on my life. And it showed me that I was not going to come home and do what I had been doing for the last couple years. Like I was on a new path.
That's so great. It's like it was a jumping board for you,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
That is so great. And you got really far along. And I don't want to jump too far ahead in the interview, but if you haven't been watching, you got into the top 10. Like,
Yes.
holy cow, that is amazing. You're amazing.
Thank
I
you.
I love that your attitude was, I'm just happy to go and try out, and you ended up getting into the top 10. So it's so much fun to watch you. There was one time where you had to break down a whole chicken. And by the way, you did a great job, but I
Thank
wanted
you.
to ask, did you feel
Yeah.
confident while you were doing that? Or, did it cut into your time too much in cooking? What was that like?
So, I was so excited about cutting up that chicken that it truly ruined the rest of the night for me. It took 10 minutes for me to cut up the chicken, or not 10 minutes, but like give or take, like it probably took 5 or 6. And I remember by the end of cutting up that chicken, I was shaking so bad. And I don't know why. Like I was uncomfortable cutting up a chicken. Like I probably didn't do it perfectly. But by the time I was done with that, I was shaking so bad. I never could get back into the groove of that evening. And I don't know psychologically what was going on, but I was done. Like when I cut up that chicken, I was like, "Yep, this isn't gonna go well." That was just a rough night, but we all have our rough nights, and that was mine.
And you made it through. What did you make that night? Can you refresh my memory?
I think I had I had sauteed some spinach, I had a chicken breast, I had some Parisian gnocchi, which is actually a totally different process than the regular gnocchi. And I've made it before and it's turned out nice, but in that evening, I burned my butter, burned my garlic and onions. So then my gnocchi looked really weird and it wasn't coming together right.
Well, it just goes to show that you can have a bad night and you can still make it to the top 10 and you can still
Yep,
have an amazing career afterwards. It's so
exactly.
great.
Yes.
Um, and then another one, you guys all baked cakes, which
That
most
was
people,
episode.
it was your favorite? Most chefs are either really great at baking or really good at cooking, and all of you guys had to bake these elaborate, amazing cakes. Did they tell you ahead of time? Were you able to study for it? What was that like? How did you even prepare for that?
Well, we all know that there's gonna be a cake episode coming. Like if you've watched MasterChef, you know that's happening. But I had a recipe memorized in my mind. I was gonna do a gingerbread cake because I live near North Pole, Alaska. So that's what I had memorized. I had practiced one at home because I knew this was coming. And when we got out there, I should have known like we weren't gonna get to make what we had in our like minds. And Kennedy handed me that cake. And what is funny is during culinary school, I have made chiffon cakes before, and never once in my life have they turned out. And when I realized what the actual, like, it wasn't just a vanilla cake recipe, it was a chiffon cake, which has multiple components. That's why it took me so long to get it into the oven, because I had to do so much more than some of the other cakes that were happening tonight because there's egg whites involved. And I was like, nope, this is awful. I've never succeeded at this, but I think that really like lit a fire in my mind. Like I will not go out on a cake episode because that's what I do in Alaska. I've made many birthday cakes, wedding cakes, and I just couldn't fail on this one.
And you didn't. It was
Oh,
the most beautiful cake. It was almost identical. It looked so
yeah. And
great.
it was so much fun. I remember halfway through that episode feeling really stressed because there was a lot of components and things weren't coming together, but like I was just like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm having such a good time. And it was just so cool to see it all come together. If you had walked by my table 10 minutes before the time was up, you would have said there's no way. And I think even I remember Gordon and Joe coming by and they were shaking their heads. I think they were disappointed because they knew I was a baker. Because there was nothing to see 10 minutes before that time went off. So it's a miracle that it all came together the way it did.
Yeah, it looked absolutely amazing, and it's
The list
top
for
of the
birthday
list for
cake for
myself for
thank you.
next year. Oh
I
wow.
do travel, so let me
Okay.
know.
Come on out to Boise. So can you share what would typically be in the pantry at the MasterChef studio?
Yeah,
And did it change for like say for instance, a typical dish versus a cake? What
yeah.
did that look like?
They have just this incredible selection of spices and herbs and pantry, like your flour, your sugar, all of those type of things. Those are always there. But then there was all these rotating fun ingredients that a lot of them living in Alaska at the time, I had never seen before. So I think I gravitated a lot of times toward grabbing some of those ingredients when I shouldn't have. I should have done what I was comfortable with. But I was so excited. Like, when am I going to get to try this again? So they have a beautiful pantry, and that was a lot of fun to explore.
Oh yeah, I loved the pantry on my show. I got to use duck fat for the first time ever, and I was so excited because nobody can afford duck fat. So
No.
you got to grab those amazing ingredients when you can.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And then after it feels like you've done these big, huge things, you get to go to the Dodger Stadium.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
so coming from Alaska, that must have been just so big.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like for you? And it's so cool to be there on the field.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was surreal. It was surreal for the MasterChef team that was there filming. They were like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then, of course, I was pretty pumped. My eyes, I couldn't stop like looking. I'd never seen anything like that. I'd never been on a real professional. I've never been in a professional stadium in general. So it was my first time experiencing that. My mind was just blown, completely blown, and it was beautiful. Dodger Stadium is just gorgeous.
It was really beautiful, and Gordon threw food as he does often.
Yes, he does.
Oh man, he threw food onto the Dodger Stadium grass. It's just I don't know if that's epic and just serious boss or disrespectful, but I'm gonna lean towards serious boss because I don't
Yeah.
think anyone else could get away with
No,
that.
no, he's the only one.
Oh wow. And then you guys did a tag team as well, and that looked stressful. That looked really, really stressful. My question to you is you had to do these very specific recipes.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to remind us what those were, what you can remember of them. And then were you guys just going off the cuff? Did you guys just have to figure it out? Or did they, oh my God, you did no ingredient, no, oh my gosh,
No.
tell me all
Oh,
about this.
I truly, in my mind, I'm thinking this is reality TV. Like, of course they're gonna stop everything and we're gonna look at some recipes and like have a moment. Um, I think we had a moment, but there was no looking at any recipes. It was just to like, okay, what do we think this might be? Like, I think we had like just a few minutes. Um, and I, at the time, didn't understand cooking like that. Now, that would be a breeze. I could do that with my eyes closed and like totally it makes sense. But then I had no clue. So Colby and I had such good chemistry on that challenge that like where he was struggling, I was thriving, where and vice versa. So we were really able to go back and forth. That was an incredible challenge. That was my second favorite episode. We had so much fun, and the cameras do not show you how much fun Colby and I had that night together.
Oh wow. I love the friendships that come from these shows as well. Are you and Colby still in
Oh
contact?
yeah, I was through Texas a couple of days ago, and I was kind of hoping he'd be in the airport, like because we're both traveling so much. And I texted him. We're all in a group message, so we talk a lot.
Oh, that's so great. It's so fun to keep in contact and just to be in the same room as all of
Yeah.
these other people who are as enthusiastic about food as you are. That's just
Yes,
so
that's
cool.
absolute magic.
Absolutely. What I also noticed, and again, I've done one of these shows in the past, so I definitely got hit by fatigue really hard.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, did you experience fatigue as the time went on? And what was that like? And were you able to push through it, or did it get the better of you at the end?
Yeah. I definitely it got the better of me at the end. There's such long days of filming, and sometimes I felt like I was just flying, like I was floating. It was great. I was on a high. And then there's some mornings, you just wake up and you don't have that same level of energy. And I would notice on the days that I was tired, I couldn't get my brain to work as fast as it should. So there were some times where I just was like, wow, this isn't my day. Like, hopefully they don't show me that much on the camera today. So it really varied. And I just think it just, all how much sleep did you get? How were you eating? And if I ever do it, when I do my next show at some point, I'm going to make sure that my physical health is like, because I didn't realize how important that was going in.
Oh, and that's another great tip for anybody going on these shows or trying
Yeah.
out,
Yep.
expect that it's going to feel like you're running a marathon every day. not
Yes.
just
And
physically, but in your brain as
yep,
well.
fit the sleep, eat the good food, take your vitamins, and exercise. We would film so early in the morning, but there was mornings I still had to make sure that I would get up and go run because I wouldn't be mentally able to work if I didn't do that.
Well, that's a great tip too. Were you using the gym at the, were
Yeah.
you guys at a hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We were
Were you
to.
guys,
They had a really nice space for us to work out, and it was really nice.
that's nice. Were you guys sequestered or were you guys able to go out and about?
No, we were sequestered. We were all together, but the MasterChef team, they set things up. Like we had our own gym, our own library. Like they do such a good job at making it feel like home and giving us our own space so we can have our privacy.
That is so great. That's definitely new. I've been interviewing a lot of people from all these different shows, and the fact that they made you your own little space is just
Yeah.
hats off to them. That's
Yep.
it's
They
it's
do a good
about
job.
it, yeah, it's about time that they start taking really good care of the contestants and
Yeah.
because you guys are out there doing the work. And then I wanted to ask you, which I thought was perhaps your cutest moment on, you had a lot of cute moments, but you asked for help in opening up the wine bottle. And I just found this so lovable. And I love it when people can ask for help. So
Yeah.
kudos to you on that. Have you caught any flack because of that? And if so, do you have any, any explanations or sharp words that you would like to
Oh,
bring back?
I think I had asked originally if I would be able. I knew that I didn't know how to work their wine. I'm from Alaska. I'm not a wine drinker. It's just not in my world. And I remember looking at their wine opener and thinking, this is really weird. Like I've never seen one like this. So I asked someone like, hey, am I going to be able to ask for help at some point? And they're like, oh yeah, probably. I probably shouldn't have asked them, because of course when the moment came, the producer was like, no, 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 no. But it was one of my most viral moments on social media. I don't even remember how many millions of views. Like it was incredible. And also people were calling it Joe's most wholesome TV moment. So I
Oh,
gave Joe one of his softest, most beautiful, and I know that's not his vibe or his personality, but it was a good moment for him. And actually he was so kind in that moment and yeah, to help me with my little slip up. Um but I don't feel bad about it. I think it came across really cute and it all worked out. And I know how to open a bottle of wine now.
well, I thought it was really cute, and I thought it's really hard sometimes to ask for help, not just
Yeah.
in real life, which it is, but on TV like that. So
Yeah.
just to be, humble and vulnerable like that, I think it made all of us love you all the more.
Oh,
So, no, thank you
you.
for that moment. I think it really, and Joe, I hope that, he said a big thank you for for you giving him that moment.
It made him look good. So
It did. It did. Come on, Joe. Where's the thank you? No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding. So, what was downtime like? So, you said that you guys had your own little space. Were you
Yeah.
guys just studying recipes? What were you doing in your downtime? And how much were you really able to bond with the other contestants during downtime?
We would get done filming, and I think the thought would be, oh, we're gonna go back to our hotel room and just call our family. But as we got into the filming, as much as I loved my family and I needed to connect with them, at the time I was in such a headspace, I needed to be with the other contestants. And we all realized that, and it was really special. And I did hear that in 13 seasons, they had never seen a cast as close as we were. Whether it was throwing birthday parties for each other or crying with each other, there was a lot of emotions and a lot of tears. And I think maybe COVID has changed how we feel about other humans and human interaction and connection. So the closeness between us was really special. So our downtime was spent together. Even if we weren't talking, we were just sitting in a hotel room, looking at our recipes, eating our snacks. Like we were together. And I think that was really special.
I love that. And I love that it happened, after COVID when I feel like we all really needed it. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to bring to this podcast too, is I feel like we can really connect with all the
Yeah.
contestants and get to know them. And then when you're watching them, you almost feel a little bit more a part of it. So thank
Exactly.
you for giving us this piece of you. Um,
Yeah.
so What about you said that you had been looking at recipes in your downtime. Were you just like scrolling on your phone, or did you bring any books with you or
Yeah.
any of that?
I brought a cookbook with me that kind of just was like a basics of everything. And I was studying that like that was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know? But MasterChef is awesome. I don't know what all the other seasons are like, but they had set up a really nice library for us, full of just every cookbook you could think of, every type of food you could imagine. So we would just pour through those, and then the interaction, asking each other, like, well, what would you do in this situation? Or how would you cook this? I learned so much by just hearing the other contestants talk about food.
So did you fall in love with any of those cookbooks? Did you just have to order them as soon as you got home, or run to the library and check them out?
I don't know that I've looked at a cookbook since I got home. We spent so much time because when you're not, and I don't know how it was on your show, but when we're not filming, A, we have to be quiet in the green room, and B, you don't have your phones. All you have is cookbooks. So I read so much. It was like I was back in school, that I haven't had like the heart or the stomach to look at another one since then. And it's been like what, a full year now.
Oh
Um
man.
Cookbooks, I really enjoyed them.
Well, it was good while it lasted. You got to read
Yes.
all that's out there. That is
Yes.
so great that they supplied those. For us, we just had to bring them from home, and
Okay.
we weren't even allowed to bring them on set. So I love the progression. Mine was
Yeah.
10 years ago. So
Okay.
what I have loved the most about this is I found that we were just like these worker bees for them back then.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like you guys are the stars. And it's just, I love that. It, I didn't watch these kinds of shows for so many years just because it was so stressful for me, and it kind of
Yeah.
brought back the PTSD. But
Yeah.
I love that they treat you guys so well. And
Yeah.
I commend them for that, because it's time.
No,
It's time to make it about you guys.
yeah. No,
So
you're good.
for those people who might be thinking, well, I want to try out for MasterChef, or people going on to one of these cooking reality shows coming up, do you have any advice that, would be invaluable to them?
Yeah. So MasterChef found me, and they found me through my social media. And what I would tell anybody wanting to do this, the casting people they're all over Instagram. Start posting. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Just start posting what you're making for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Get it out there. Get your personality on Instagram, TikTok. So that is my number one tip. Like, start putting it out there, and the casting people will come to you. But obviously, keep sending in the videos. Don't be discouraged. Obviously, they get so much. So just keep sending it in. Even if you're like, man, they didn't see it. They must have hated me. No, they probably never even saw it. So just keep it going. Don't give up. And there's so many TV shows out there. That's the thing. Like, don't just audition for one, audition for 20. There's plenty for everybody.
I think that's great. Are you planning on doing any more shows, or can you not talk about that,
Um,
or?
Currently have some really cool things on the horizon. So stay tuned and keep watching my social media. So
Will do, will do. And hopefully it's a show that I can interview you on again so we can have you come back. So to kind of wrap it all up, I wanted to find out, what has this show done for, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but what has the show done for your career, for your life? Can you share what it's been like since you've gotten home?
mhm. It gave me the publicity that I needed to truly launch my career in a really powerful way. So I'm doing a couple things right now. So I'm a travel chef, so I go all over and cook, which has been so neat. I also work at a really cool place. I work at a chalet that's literally in the heart of Denali National Park, right underneath like Mount Denali, like, the largest mountain in North America. Um, and I'm creating beautiful food. It's fly-in only, like, it's bizarre, and I never would have gotten that opportunity if I hadn't been on MasterChef. I'm also currently opening up a culinary school for kids here in Fairbanks. We have a lodge. We're renovating it. It's going to be very rustic, very Alaskan. There are kids that don't have access here in this state to cooking classes. There it's being done very well here in Alaska, but I'd like to offer like, what I know as well and my I don't know, just do it in my own way. So we'll be doing that. That will be up and running by next year. Our open house is in July, so I'm super excited. So I mean, that's just there's so many things, and like my life hasn't slowed down a minute since I got off of MasterChef. And I'm just so grateful that they gave me that launching point that I needed. Like this was all here. It just needed someone to like give me the opportunity so I could put it out in the world.
I love that so much. And it brings me back to when Kelsey came back, she was one of the judges. What season was she from?
It was like
11? Okay. So Kelsey came back as one of the judges. She had won, and she
yeah,
said, and I'm looking over here because I don't want to misquote her, you can do what you want with this experience.
yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, what are you doing with the experience? And obviously you're doing so much with it. So you've, kind of taken that quote of, whatever this experience is, I can make what I want out of it. And
Yeah.
you've just made it more accurate and more set in stone. I think it's so great.
Yeah, I'm truly having the best time of my life, and this wouldn't have happened if I had never ended up on a reality TV show. So I'm very grateful for the people that placed me here.
I think that's so fantastic. I also wanted to give you this opportunity to please plug your social media. If
Oh,
you're cooking out of state, where can people get your food at right now? Tell
yeah.
us where we can get your food and where we can follow you.
Yeah, so right now everything is happening at my Instagram, alaska.lizzie on Instagram. I respond to my DMs. I check my DMs. I check my spam box. Please reach out to me. Also alaska.china camp. That's where our culinary school will be happening. So if that's like something you find exciting or you ever want your children to, come check it out in Alaska, it'd be a great opportunity for them. And also I travel all over and cook. So if someone, if you'd like to have a party or an event, I fly to you. So
Well, Lizzie, thank you so much. You've been so busy and you made time for us. And I can attest to she does check her Instagram messages because that's how I was able to get a hold of her. So please check out Lizzie on social media. Check out the new kids cooking camp cooking school coming up. I will make sure to put everything in the show notes, and be sure to tune in to the next episode of Who's Reality Cooking. Thanks so much. Bye.